Ken Babbs is the author of Tsunami Press's inaugural title, Cronies, a burlesque adventures with Ken Kesey, Neil Cassidy, the Merry Pranksters, and the Grateful Dead. Ohio-bred and Ohio-born, he is a graduate of Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, and a member of 2 NCAA tournament basketball teams. He attended graduate school at Stanford, where he met Ken Kesey, Wendell Berry, and other luminaries in Wallace Stegner's writing class. 5 years in the Marine Corps followed, serving as a helicopter pilot with his final tour of duty in Vietnam. He got off the chopper and onto the bus further for the famous trip to Manhattan in 1964, chronicled in print by Tom Wolfe and filmed and taped by the Merry Pranksters. He shared 43 years of collaboration and shenanigans with Kesey, doing shows, speaking engagements, and musical catastrophes. Plus writing books, magazine articles, and co-editing 6 issues of Spit in the Ocean. Babbs co-wrote Last Go Round with Kesey and went on to publish a novel based on his experiences in Vietnam, Who Shot the Water Buffalo, which is a great book. It should be the last war book many people should ever read. Married to a retired high school English teacher, he now lives on a 6-acre farm in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains in Oregon. Let's hear it for Ken Babbs.
Well, I hope I can live up to all that. It's a real honor and a real pleasure to be here, and I'm glad so many of you have stuck around for it. This book is exceptional, really something. It's got a story in it by me called Farm Life, told by a 15-year-old boy, and I'll save that for you to all get this book and read it in the book, because there's something that happens in there that will make you laugh for 10 minutes. But meanwhile, sitting around, with nothing else to do, something else came up. This little ditty I wrote called Peg Leg Pete and the Mountaintop Stompers. Peg Leg Pete perked up his ears. The ear-splitting notes of a hard thumping band rose from the Buckhorn Tavern down in Dexter. He was called Peg Leg Pete because his leg beneath his knee had been crushed by a tree. What remained of his lower leg had been amputated, and instead of a prosthetic, he had a wooden peg fitted to his knee like a pirate who stomped around the deck. Guard the sheep, Bowser, Pegleg told the big white Pyrenees dog. Then Pegleg Pete hightailed it down off Mount Zion where his herd of sheep was grazing. Pegleg Pete burst through the door of the Buckhorn. The dancers packed inside shrieked and scattered for the walls as Pegleg Pete stomped through, smashing his Pegleg Pete onto their feet all around the way as he backstanded where he stood, thumping, stomping, gouging big holes in the floor as the mountaintop stompers pounded on their instruments. The floor in front of the bandstand, weakened from Pegleg Pete's stomping, gave way, and the bandstand tilted. Its front hit the floor, and the mountaintop stompers slid off the stage to fall in a heap of petticoats and instruments on top of Pegleg Pete, burying him in a clot of bodies. The hall was shaking, the roof vibrating, the windows blowing out when 2 burly sheriff deputies burst through the door, swinging their batons. hurling the dancers and musicians aside until they threw themselves on Peg-Leg Pete, wailing on his head, his body, and his legs, knocking him to the ground while kicking him with their hobnailed boots as he squirmed and slithered away, striving to find shelter in the crowd of panicked partiers. By the time order was restored and the dog Bowser up on the mountaintop had herded the sheep away from the private land and backed them again onto federal territory, Peg-Leg Pete was wrapped securely in a straitjacket and carted away in the meat wagon. The band, the mountaintop stompers, were again raising the roof and rattling the window panes as the dancers were mauling one another, and they got their legs all tangled up. Peg-Leg Pete spent the night in the local calaboose. The mayhem in the Buckhorn Tavern was a mangled wreck after reaching a momentous climax, and everything on top of Mount Zion was at last peaceful and quiet as the sun crested the mountains and bathed the valley below in a warm glow. Peg-Leg Pete. Thank Scott for the book. This is a terrific collection, and I have a story in here called Farm Life, which you'll enjoy, told by a 15-year-old boy. I'll spoil it a little bit by telling you the one joke in it. When the boy is told by his dad to take their heifer over to Annabelle's farm and get the heifer bred by their bull. And so he takes the heifer on a rope over there and puts the heifer in with the bull and gets up on the corral fence and to watch. And here came Annabelle, and his 15-year-old neighbor girl sat down next to him. And they're watching, and the bull's going at it with the heifer, and he's getting kind of nervous, and he finally blurts out, he says, "Oh, God, I wish I was doing that." And she says, "Well, go ahead, it's your heifer." Thank you all. Thank you all for coming.